This is Sophia, a piece of software created for Georgia Tech for the simulation of physical interactions in atomic systems. It uses two files to create atomic simulations, a protein databank or PDB file, as well as a .sf or structure file. Here we're going to start with a molecular dynamics simulation. We have some default values loaded. Additional parameters can be saved as the default or as a separate settings file in the name of your choosing. You can also change the temperature protocols and have the temperature increase, decrease, and so on by varying amounts throughout the simulation. After it finishes simulating, we can visualize the output and see a 3D view of the atomic structures as they start, as well as an output of different types of variables associated with the atoms, be that temperature, energy, kinetic, potential, etc. And we can move through the simulation at a variable rate of speed to see the changes that take place. We also have the ability to change the way in which the atoms are displayed to make it easier for the users. For larger systems, we can show each one differentiated by chain, and that is each set that's connected together represented by a different color, by the type of element. And this is the base coloring method that's used for most scientific representations. For example, here we have black as carbon, white as oxygen, and many of the other basic elements are assigned their typical colorations, as well as showing them just faded from red to blue along a color spectrum, depending on the number of the atom. We also have multiple methods of actually representing these atoms. The CPK method is the typical ball and stick model that you sometimes see. However, the VDW method is a bit closer to the actual representation of what the atom would look like, though it can be a bit harder to distinguish. So, down at the bottom we can step through the various positions to look at certain configurations that we need to see, as well as change what is visualized down at the bottom as far as the plot is concerned. So here you can see we already have temperature, but we're going to change it to show the kinetic, potential, and total energy throughout the system as time passes. And we can apply that. Now you can see down at the bottom has the legend for each of the different types of energies, as well as the frame that are taken at each time step set in the previous settings, as well as the value along the left. You can also, for some of the larger simulations, it creates a large deal of data. You can zoom in on the particular areas you want to see, as well as look at the trajectory output that can be saved. And the trajectory output gives you a more thorough look at the specific numbers of each of the atoms along each of the steps. Sophia was written to be highly scalable. It can have additional algorithms, simulation parameters, etc. added on. Here we have the second algorithm we implemented, which is energy minimization. What this does is it tries to take the atoms and move them into the arrangement that has the least potential kinetic energy and the lowest temperature. So we have the simulation load up, and you can see as we step through it that it goes to the lowest possible energy values. A little bit easier to see once we have the plots. Now the variables we're using for the plots are the kinetic energy, potential energy, and total energy. So you can see the three of them decline together, as well as the energy that's stored between the angles and the bonds in the atoms. And as you can see, all of them go very quickly toward the smallest possible value. Now it's a bit more dramatic when it is done in a 2D environment with unbonded atoms, but as you can see, they get as close together as possible. And down here at the time plot, you can see how all of the energy goes towards zero and ends once it has. Now the simulation parameters are available as before, the relabeling by the different types of molecule, atom, all that, and all of these coloring algorithms, etc., are functional for an infinite number of atoms. It just changes the length of time the simulation takes, increasing the number of atoms, or the number of steps, etc. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. This software is available for download and is open source. Feel free to use, modify, etc. Thank you.